This is Jeff Mucci with RCR Wireless News, and we're here with the founder and CEO of EXFO, Germain. We met, I think, several years in a row. So now,
absolutely, Jeff.
2017 Mobile World Congress. You founded EXFO 30 years ago.
Yep.
Why don't you talk about some of the big transformations you've seen over the past 30 years, and then we'll talk about what you can expect over the next 10 years.
Well, absolutely. I will say that the telecom industry in the last 30 years has been going through major amount of transformation that are unprecedented. And I can talk about both the fixed and the mobile industry. It's just unbelievable. EXFO was created with the idea to become the premier brand of fiber optic testing. We've long achieved that milestone with the world number one. We own in the range of 40% of the world's market for optical testing, and in many areas we're at 50 and 60% of the world's market. We are the clear leader in that segment. But amongst the transformation where fiber is actually becoming like a very critical part of telecom nowadays, we can see, of course, is the internet. Internet has brought, communication requirements to become much more than what it used to be. Can we think of our lives now without the internet? So it's been so pervasive in what we can do nowadays. And the changes we are seeing in the years to come will be that, of course, the democratization of the use of internet, the use of smart devices, the IoT, and that's really going to have a profound impact in the ways we're living our lives. Whether this is drones or cars or anything in our lives will be connected devices. We went from having few cell phones to now be talking not only like we talk about 20 billion devices connected by 2020, we're now talking 50 billion devices by 2020. Yeah. The numbers keep exploding, so it's magic.
So what do you see in the next 12 months as big mobile transformation trends, maybe next 12 to 18 months?
Well, in the next 12 to 18 months, there's infrastructure transformation. First of all, the telecom operators are in need to face this growing demand and crazy demand for more bandwidth, more services, and it's transforming the way the RAN networks have been built. We're moving from the big, large, cell sites, the way we used to know them, to much more of those sites everywhere around, in every locations, both in terms of femtocell, small cell, picocell, but as well the infrastructure itself is being modified to become more now what we call C-RAN, centralized RAN, and even cloud RAN, which is the next generation beside that. With that, it creates tremendous problem for the operators to hunt for the interferences that really is plaguing the telecoms network. A lot of bandwidth has actually been lost simply because there's too much interference. So we've got now new solutions to help operators to gain more efficiency on that front. Another very big trend that we see in the industry is there's no ways the operators can actually have enough people to come out in the field and make it happen. So automation is becoming extremely important. So we talk about test automation, but we go beyond test automation. We really brought to the industry unique concept, a cloud-based system that allows us to really streamline processes, make complex jobs simple, but also make that from the cloud and pushing the data into the cloud to allow the operators to really make it better, faster. And we've come now to a concept that we call test orchestration. So orchestration means a lot about NAV and SDN. For us, it means, of course, all that aspect. We're very deep into this, but in the same vein, we're also very deep into how we can transform the way it's been done out there in the field to really provide this efficiency that someone that's coming into the job without any experience can actually do the most complex task in no time.
So you mentioned 5G, IoT, you mentioned NFV. Talk a little bit more specific about the opportunities that presents for EXFO.
Well, a lot of things. First of all, 5G and IoT is a radical transformation from a technology point of view, but also from a network requirements point of view. So most operators today are looking at 2020, which is the first time where the standards will be ratified, and how they'll deploy these technologies will require backhauls and infrastructure that has got what we call no latency, or very short, very low latency. Assuring low latency in a network that's massive scale, especially in an environment that is NAV enabled, that means based on servers that got different level of loadings depending on the time of the day, means that latency will be a very difficult parameter for everyone to assure. It is so critical in the IoT world. Yeah. In the IoT world, if you're using a connected car, you will want to make sure you don't get an accident because there was a millisecond latency that made a difference. Latency will actually be a very critical performance metric. So we've launched some very unique capability that only EXFOs in the industry, only EXFO in the industry can actually do that, is to have a very accurate one-way latency that can be measured anywhere into the network and segmented, portion in the network for every one of the portions around the network, where a call nationwide going from New York to Los Angeles or vice versa can be segmented and analyzed for latency with extreme level of accuracy. And latency will be one of the killer, parameter, if you will. EXFO is the only game in town in what we call active tests that really brings this active nationwide testing capability. We've done this already right now with one of the top 2 US operator, where everywhere there's a cell site, or basically a wireless point of presence, we're testing every one of those points of presence. There's like 60, 70,000 of those. Each of them are tested 40 times per second, because it's 4 services, 10 times per second each.
Yeah.
So we can do that nationwide and bring this all into a portal that helps to really visualize wherever there's an outage or a slowdown or something that's not quite right to where it needs to be nationwide. Quite unique.
So you talk about end-to-end, you talk about service assurance. How does EXFO actually address the end-to-end service assurance?
Very good question, Jeff. Amongst the things we do that's quite unique is we bring a wider set of data into what we call, analytics. Analytics is a very common theme these days, and what EXFO has done is quite different than anyone else in this industry. First of all, we're bridging into our data, fundamental topology discovery, so we can understand network topology, because network topologies are fast evolving. Now, when you're going from a hardware-centric or physical type network to a virtualized environment, and where the topology will actually be moving on the fly, managing topology on the fly will be very important. We have that as a capacity that's quite important. The second thing is we bring data from what we call active tests, but also passive tests, and as well from the fiber plant. We can mix all that data to make sure we know more about. The more data you can bring into our artificial intelligence, our analytics tool, the better the decisions we can make. So when we're looking at the network, we're looking at it from 3 dimensions. We call it our 3D analytics, 3 dimensions. First dimension is the network layer. That means any points of presence across the country, any segment, we can pinpoint that particular segment with any measurement that needs to be made to assure that this is really going smooth. The second dimension is assuring that the service itself is delivered properly from an end-to-end point of view. So it's one thing to deliver a VoLTE call on a segment, but a call nationwide will go from a VoLTE to a VoIP, will go to any technology in the middle. Right. We can assure this call from an end-to-end point of view. We can assure a VoLTE session, a call session, a video session. We can assure any of these services end-to-end. So that's the second dimension. And the third dimension is we can assure all of this, but also for every single subscribers. So we can do a very deep subscriber analytics and all of that at the same time, where we can say, all right, for all the people, let's say in Austin, Texas, for example, what's the quality of experience? What are the phone models that are creating problems? Is this an iPhone? Is this a Samsung or whatever that is causing problems? What hardware model? What software revision? We can nail it down and really analyze this and provide all the data for the operator to say, all right, of all my problems within the Austin area or the Dallas area or the state of Texas, for example, the problems are coming typically from a Samsung Model 6 that has got a revision ABC and blah, blah, blah. So all of this we can actually bring together into a fully automated fashion. We're using all that data with these 3 dimensions to help the operators to streamline the process of trouble discovery. So we point them to the most critical problems much faster. So of all the problems you've got to face at a given time, maybe there's only 5% that are really, really significant. So deal with those first thing. The second thing is we're helping them to get to the root cause much faster. So we're able to tell them, of all the likelihoods, of all the problems, the very likely cause is ABC. Go and do that, it's going to work and fix your problem. Yeah. And increasingly what we're doing with this now is we're taking all that data, that knowledge, we're dealing with hundreds of terabytes of information on a real-time basis, to help to predict as well where it's going. So if you don't do, because we see this and this and that, if you don't act, the next thing that will happen
that
is...
That really is my next question. If you're taking all that data in real time or less than real time, what role will EXFO play in helping them with self-optimizing networks?
I think we have a very big role to play, and that's part of our strong focus, is to make sure that all of this gets into what we call the closed loop architecture. And of course, this is the holy grail. That's what everyone is actually aiming at. But where you have to start is understanding all the metrics, understanding, of course, all the topology, connecting to all the, the orchestrators, and we're quite into the NAV world, quite deeply involved. We've made significant wins with the thought leaders in the industry, so we have active systems deployed and being used day in and day out today into the networks. And all of this, basically, all this data loops back very smoothly. So that's clearly the vision for the business, and we want that 3D analytics to be leading to, performance enhancements, but also efficiency in running the networks in a 2020 vision. So we're quite ambitious about that.
Germain, thanks for your time. It's great seeing you again.
It's a great pleasure, Jeff.
Thank you
so much.